Google searches to build your business and brand. Using Google to build your business and your brand is a huge no-no. Huge no-no. But it's a very common route that entrepreneurs, creatives, and visionaries choose to build a foundation for their business and their brand. The foundation that you're getting from Google searches, DIYs, social media gurus, even these pricey business consultants and branding and marketing companies creates a very shaky, unstable foundation for your business and your brand. It's leaving you with pretty much a house built on a matchstick foundation. And it's very common, but a lot of people, because it's so common, a lot of people don't think that they're doing anything wrong, or they're just waiting, for one thing to happen and all goes awry with their business. Or they find out after years of promoting themselves underneath this particular brand name that their brand idea name has already been trademarked. And so they're looking up and they're getting a cease and desist letter. And they have to go through the process of depending on the size of the company. If it's a large company, no sense of even fighting it. Then you have to go through and start just rebranding everything. Even if it's a small company, do you want to shell out those tens of thousands of dollars to enter into negotiations in order to continue to use that brand? So this is the likely outcome of using Google searches, these DIY companies, social media entrepreneurship gurus, and even business consultants and branding, marketing companies, and all of this stuff that just sounds all fancy schmancy, and you think that you're going to get your brand name and your business taken to the next level, and then you find yourself right back at square one in an attorney's office. That's where most people, if their business doesn't just completely go under, most people find themselves back at what was supposed to be square one in an attorney's office, getting a consultation. I'm meeting with business owners, y'all, and seeing that a lot of these business owners, their registration is just not right in whatever state that they filed and registered the LLC in with the Secretary of State. They haven't filed their annual registrations. They have their personal information out there. This is so common. I pretty much see this in 97% of my initial consultations. Just that entrepreneurs, they just don't know. They just don't know. And they're being led astray. So the thing about being an entrepreneur is that you have an innate drive within you. So you have what the New Age folks call, you have these positive vibes and this positive aura around you. But you have to be careful when you have that, because it can attract a lot of parasites. People who want to feed off of your drive, people who want to feed off of your tenacity, people who want to feed off of your wonderful ideas, and they don't mean you any good. Because they know you have the funds, the funds that you have available at that time, and you're honestly thinking that you're doing the right thing. And then you find yourself in an attorney's office, which is the first step to build a solid legal foundation for your business and brand. Google cannot legally advise you. DIY formation companies cannot legally advise you. Business consultants, unless they're a licensed attorney, cannot legally advise you. And definitely not social media entrepreneurship gurus and prophets and things of that nature that people are calling themselves. They cannot legally advise you on what to do. Now, what they're going to tell you after they get all your money, and then you ask them a serious legal question, is you have to ask an attorney. That's what they're going to tell you. And then you'll find yourself sitting in an attorney's office realizing, wow, I probably should have been here from step one. So I want to save you all that heartbreak, that headache, and that paranoia of not knowing. Because in the entrepreneurship journey, you already have that uncertainty, as we call uncertainty, of not knowing how the money is going to come in. So why would you want to add? Just ask yourself this honestly. Honestly, ask yourself this. If I know that this is here, the uncertainty of, am I going to be successful? Am I going to, break even? Am I going to, financial uncertainty. If you know that that's there, if you know that that's lying ahead waiting for you, then why wouldn't you want to remove all other obstacles as well that can be removed simply by talking to a business attorney to help you build a solid legal foundation for your business and your brand? It's real, y'all. It's so common, and a lot of people get burned. They find themselves, they're inactive in the Secretary of State filing. Next thing you know, they're being sued. They're thinking that everything is okay because, hey, I got an LLC, so I'm protected. No, you're not. And next thing you know, it's your house, your car, personal bank accounts, all of that being seized and garnished and used to satisfy money judgments, which is just a nightmare in and of itself, that you don't want to go through that. That's a process, a legal process that weighs very, very heavy on the mind. Getting a money judgment against you for your personal assets. Also with building your brand. Nothing is wrong with utilizing the services for, that branding companies offer, that marketing companies offer. Nothing is wrong with that. But we have to be crystal clear here about the duties and the responsibilities of a branding company or a marketing company. Their sole duty is to promote your brand, not to protect it. That's not their job. In no way, shape, form, or fashion. So when you're going to them, you don't have any protection. Yes, there are some branding companies, there are some marketing companies who do what they call a trademark search and clearance. But they don't register your mark. And what is really in this trademark search and clearance? Are they providing you with an official legal memo? They can't, because they're not attorneys. So they can't draft you up an official legal memo about the trademark search and clearance that they have conducted for you. So they really don't know. And a lot of people honestly think that they can just go to the United States Trademark Office, hit the search button, type in the name of their idea, and if that doesn't pop up immediately, then they're good to go. And that's just not the case. Anytime you're dealing with trademarks, it's subjective. So it's ultimately up to the determination of one of the examining attorneys in the United States Trademark Office as to whether or not your mark should be registered. So that is something that a lot of people don't know about trademarks. Nobody can guarantee you whether your trademark is going to be accepted by the trademark office or not, because that's ultimately up to the trademark office. So you can always definitely save yourself a lot of heartache and headache, because this is your brand, this is your baby. You don't want to put your all into it and realize that, it has to all go away. Either somebody else is using this, or because it's already been trademarked, or you're getting sued because you don't have any corporate veil protection, because your LLC and nothing is right in the Secretary of State records. Y'all, this is very, very common with entrepreneurs who choose to go the guerrilla route, which I call the guerrilla route or the DIY route using Google. It always ends up wrong. Guys, there was a time where I was not an attorney, and it happened to me. I did the guerrilla style, I did the DIY, and it could have ended horribly for me. Thankfully, it didn't, because when I realized what was going on, I was in my third year of law school at that point, sitting in business law class for the first day, and realized, like, oh my gosh, what did I just do here? So thankfully, that's behind me. It's the story that I prevailed from, but I went through it, and I don't want anybody else to have to go through it when I know where that road leads to. I know where Google formations and DIY formations lead to. It leads to you being right back at the real square one, being in an attorney's office, whether it's virtual or in person. So always know that about utilizing Google or other internet search engines or these DIY formation companies when you're building your business and your brand. When you are seeking to protect your brand, know that branding companies and marketing companies, their job is to solely promote your brand, not to protect it. And also, trademarks are subjective. It's ultimately up to the examining attorney and the trademark office as to whether or not the mark will be filed and registered, and it will be fairly yours. So just want y'all to keep that in mind for when you're doing Google searches. Y'all, I know, I went through it. So you all would not have to go through it. You don't want to build your business and your brand on a matchstick foundation, because it is going to crumble. And when it falls, it's going to fall. And that's a situation where I don't want anybody to have to be in, because it's a situation that can be avoided. Thank you all. This is Queen, the Veil Lawyer with Bell Terra Law Firm, on using Google and DIY formation companies to build your business and brand. Thank you.